This is a yarmulke.
A yarmulke?
Yeah, and yeah, it's more of the Eastern Jews than it would be of more of the Sephardic kind of thing. Than this is not European. This is the Spanish Jews who, when they left Spain, they went down to Africa. Some of them, and others of them went over to Europe. So this is from the guys. You know, in 1492 when Columbus was sailing, the Jews were and the Jews were expelled from Spain. So some of them went to Africa and others went to Europe.
Is that every day? Would you wear that every day?
I don't think so, no. They wore it in the, I guess some people could.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So, anyhow.
Did you have a certain thing that you wore when you lived there?
Was there certain
things that you wore?
Well,
being a kibbutznik?
Well, this, of course, and then the boots, which are the rubber boots, which are, you can still see in the corner right near where this was. And they're also from 1958, because that's when I worked on the kibbutz. And, yeah, so I brought those back with me, too.
Were they, was it a religious kind of existence at all?
No, I'm sorry. I should have clarified this. When I was talking about left and right and all that sort of stuff, the left were atheists. The in-between, the moderates, could be whatever they wanted to be. And the far right were religious. They're the ones who would throw rocks at you if you went into Mea Shearim and you weren't wearing proper attire. Like, you know, if a woman went in there with a skirt that showed her knee. Hello? Hey, David, I'm taping. I'll talk to you later. My son. The two people who call, my brother and my son. My son calls every day.
And where is he?
He's in Eureka. If you know California, Dave's in Eureka, and it's, I don't know, it's more than 1,000 miles away.
Is your only child?
No, I have another child, Evan. Evan is in Portland, Oregon, and Evan and I have been estranged for a long time. But I sent him I called him up on his birthday and left a message on his answering machine. He wrote back an email, says, you want to get in touch with me, use this address, so I've done it. But the last one that I did, he had asked what the topics of the salon, which we'll get to later, were, and I told him the last two were torture and terrorism. And I expressed some views that he didn't like my views. I mean, anyhow. So he decided he wasn't going to write back. I don't know. I'll write him again, and I'll talk about something else that's more in line with his green and people who don't fight in wars.
Pacifist.
Pacifist. He's a pacifist, and he's green. So anyhow, those are my two boys. And David calls regularly, and he's been down to visit me a couple of times. And Evan, I was on good terms with him for a while, and then for some reason I said something he didn't like. I questioned global warming. Among the other things that I do, and that has earned me a reputation, is that I'm a contrarian. So if the salon has a thing on torture, then and they're all against it, of course, then I'll present them with a situation that the only way that they can hope to save their infant child who has already been molested, raped, tortured, and so forth, and they haven't caught the guy who did it, but they have his brother, or they have his daughter, or something like that, you know. And the only way you're going to save your child from worse horrors is if you get the information. And probably the only way you're going to get the information is if you torture a child. And I said I would. To get my son back, as between the two children, I place a higher value on my son than this person. But I think this person plays pays a high value on his son also, so he's going to tell me what I want to know before I have to do anything. But in the meantime, I say, yeah, there are times when I'm in favor of that. And I say also that given that that's illegal, it's immoral, it's unethical, it's all the things that are bad, I accept the fact that I'm doing bad things, and I expect to be punished in this life. Forget about the next. In this life, I expect to be punished for doing these evil deeds. And you know, I'll turn myself in. It doesn't matter. I did what I did. It was wrong. I know it's wrong. Now you have to impose a penalty.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, so that's the way I feel about stuff. And that's the way I feel about terrorism also. You know, what happened at Abu Ghraib was awful. I mean, the people who did that deserved having the book thrown at them. And instead, you got a couple of low-level people and that one general, and you know, and she was ordered by other people. And it was, anyhow, those people are not evil per se. You know, they didn't think this thing up on their own and go and do it. They were given instructions. So there's a difference now. I understand that. I understand morality, ethics, the rest of it. And I understand that if I do something bad, then I should expect to be punished appropriately. I mean, that's just the way it is. So that's my own personal belief system. Anyhow, I told him about these things, and he got infuriated. You know, he didn't even want to know what would make me do it. He just wanted, you know, forget it. So we didn't talk for a long time. We didn't talk about global warming because I questioned him on global warming, and this is many years ago before, you know, more and more stuff was coming out. And I was just doing a Socratic method on him to try and get him to explain where he comes to the conclusion that global warming is happening and that it's the oil companies and so forth that are doing it. But he couldn't encompass, he couldn't explain what he was, you know, where he had gotten his information and what it all meant. And that's all I was doing, because I was just asking him questions as to, you know, give me some ideas to what led you to the proposition. And I would do that to everybody, you know. I mean, that's why I was contrarian. But even though I did believe that global warming was going on, I still thought that it was necessary for people to understand. Like, we still have people talking about Bush was right and the Democrats are going to pull us out. And they have no idea about the reality of what happened. You know, they just don't. All they know is what they got from the spin doctors. And so they go on that and they say, oh, I still favor the war in Iraq. I mean, it's just, and if he wants to attack